RavensWood Manor, an architectural marvel shrouded in an aura of enigma, stood as a timeless sentinel in the heart of the dense forest. Emily Sinclair, a spirited young woman with an insatiable curiosity and a penchant for adventure, found herself thrust into its shadowy embrace. She had inherited this imposing mansion from her late great-grandmother, Victoria Ravenswood, a name that had scarcely been uttered in her childhood. The news of her unexpected inheritance arrived like a whisper of fate, carried by an ancient letter sealed with crimson wax. Emily had never set foot in RavensWood Manor before, and its grandeur was overwhelming as she approached the imposing entrance. A sense of reverence, tinged with foreboding, washed over her as she crossed the threshold. The entrance hall, adorned with portraits of stern-faced ancestors, seemed to come alive with their penetrating gazes. Emily felt like an intruder, an outsider in her own lineage. But she was determined to restore the mansion's faded grandeur and breathe life back into the crumbling walls. As she explored the vast mansion, she discovered rooms that had been untouched for generations, each filled with the echoes of a bygone era. Dusty curtains swayed in the breeze, and forgotten secrets whispered in the corners of her mind. The manor seemed to have a life of its own, its very walls imbued with memories and mysteries. Emily was undeterred by the tales of hauntings and eerie occurrences that had plagued RavensWood Manor for generations. To her, this mansion was not a relic but an opportunity. She envisioned a future where its grand halls echoed with laughter and the echoes of her own footsteps. Little did Emily know that her decision to make RavensWood Manor her home would set in motion a series of events that would unravel a story far more complex and enchanting than any restoration project she had ever undertaken. The first few weeks in RavensWood Manor were marked by a sense of both excitement and trepidation. Emily threw herself into the monumental task of restoration, working tirelessly to breathe new life into the fading mansion. Yet even in the midst of her determined efforts, unsettling occurrences began to chip away at her resolve. The drafts that swept through the hallway seemed to carry with them whispers of forgotten memories, no matter how many fires Emily lit or windows she sealed. The inexplicable cold persisted, as though the very walls of the manor harbored a chilling secret. Nights were a different kind of challenge. Eerie shadows danced along the walls, their movements defying explanation. Emily often found herself waking in the dead of night, the feeling of being watched seeping into her dreams. A sense of unease settled in her heart. But she was not one to be frightened away by mere drafts and shadows. The old iron key she had found among her great-grandmother's belongings fit the lock perfectly. As she ascended the creaking stairs, the whispers that had guided her there grew louder, as though urging her forward into the heart of the mystery. The attic was a treasured trove frozen in time. Forgotten relics, dusty diaries, and letters bearing the weight of centuries filled the space. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper and memories long past. Emily felt an undeniable connection to her ancestors as she pored over the artifacts as though their stories were etched into her very soul. The whispers, once cryptic and distant, now took on a haunting clarity. They spoke of a tragic family history, woven with threads of love, betrayal, and secrets buried deep within the manor's walls. Emily learned of generations who had lived and died within these very walls, their lives a tapestry woven into the very fabric of the mansion. As she delved deeper into the attic's secrets, the whispers became more intense, revealing fragments of a dark family secret, a secret that seemed to be the very heart of the haunting. Emily couldn't turn away now. She was drawn deeper into the labyrinth of her family's history, determined to uncover the truth that had eluded generations. The attic, once a sanctuary of memories, transformed into a battleground of wills. Emily had come to believe that the entity responsible for the haunting was her great-grandmother, Victoria Ravenswood, reaching out from beyond the grave. One fateful night, Emily confronted the malevolent entity. It materialized before her, a spectral figure with hollow eyes that seemed to hold centuries of resentment. Its presence sent a chill through the room, and the very air grew heavy with an aura of malevolence. In her desperation for answers, Emily tried to communicate with the entity. She believed that understanding its grievances might hold the key to unraveling the truth behind the mansion's haunting. The confrontation that followed was nothing short of chilling, as Emily found herself locked in a battle of wills with a force that had tormented her family for generations. But as the entity spoke, Emily began to realize that it was not her great-grandmother at all. It was a malevolent force, born from a tragic pact forged in desperation, and it was seeking revenge against her family. The chilling truth unfolded before her eyes, leaving her with more questions than answers. Determined to end the torment and free RavensWood Manor from the malevolent force, Emily embarked on a quest to uncover the source of the haunting. Her exploration led her to a hidden chamber deep within the attic, a chamber that held the darkest secret of all. In the heart of this chamber lay a cursed artifact, its malevolence palpable even from a distance. Emily could feel the weight of its dark power, and as she examined it, she realized that it was the very source of the mansion's haunting. This artifact, she understood, was the key to unlocking the mysteries that had plagued her family for generations. As she delved further into the artifact's history, a shocking revelation unfolded before her eyes. Her great-grandmother, Victoria Ravenswood, had made a pact with a sinister entity in exchange for power, wealth, and the continued survival of the family. It was a pact that had bound the Ravenswood family to this malevolent force, a curse passed down through the ages. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Emily realized that her task was not just to banish the malevolent force, but to break the cursed cycle that had ensnared her family for centuries. The stakes were higher than ever, and the burden of her family's legacy weighed heavily on her shoulders. She knew that she must confront the malevolent force and put an end to its reign of terror once and for all. Emily's determination to confront the malevolent force burned brighter than ever. Armed with the knowledge of the cursed artifact's origin, she embarked on a relentless quest to break the shackles that bound her family to darkness. Days turned into nights as Emily delved into ancient texts and consulted experts in the occult. Her resolve was unyielding, her will unwavering. The answers lay hidden in the past, and she was determined to unearth them. One moonless night, as she pored over a centuries-old tome in the library, an eerie chill settled in the air. The room seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, and Emily felt an otherworldly presence draw near. The candles flickered, casting elongated shadows on the walls. Then it appeared, a spectral figure, translucent and ethereal. It was unlike anything Emily had ever seen. The figure glided towards her, its eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine.
Who are you?
Emily demanded, her voice quivering but resolute. See, the entity, a being of pure energy, spoke not in words, but in emotions that flowed directly into Emily's mind. It conveyed a sense of urgency, a plea for understanding. It was not here to harm her, but to communicate. As the connection deepened, Emily realized that this unearthly visitor was an echo of the cursed artifact itself, a manifestation of the very force she sought to banish. It had existed for centuries, trapped in a spectral existence, longing for release. Emily's encounters with the unearthly visitor continued, each interaction revealing more about the tragic history of RavensWood Manor and the curse that had ensnared her family. Through the entity's emotions and fleeting images, she learned of her great-grandmother's desperate attempt to protect her family from an even darker malevolence. It was a story of sacrifice and unintended consequences. Victoria Ravenswood had made a pact with a sinister entity to safeguard her family, believing it to be the lesser evil. But her actions had unwittingly unleashed a relentless curse upon her descendants. The unearthly visitor implored Emily to find a way to release it from its spectral existence, for only then could the curse be truly broken. Emily, her heart heavy with empathy, vowed to help the entity find redemption. Together, they embarked on a journey to confront the darker malevolence that lurked within RavensWood Manor, the very entity that Victoria had tried to shield her family from. It would not be an easy task, but Emily was determined to free her family from the shadows that had plagued them for generations. The final confrontation with the malevolent entity that had haunted RavensWood Manor for centuries was a harrowing ordeal. Emily, armed with knowledge and the unwavering support of the unearthly visitor, faced the darkness head-on. In the depths of the mansion, they discovered a hidden chamber that held the malevolent force captive. It was a terrifying entity, a grotesque amalgamation of nightmares and despair. Its power was overwhelming, and its malevolence threatened to consume them. As Emily and the unearthly visitor confronted the malevolent force, a battle of wills and emotions unfolded. The very foundations of the mansion shook with the intensity of their struggle. It was a battle between redemption and damnation, between the desire for release and the thirst for vengeance. In the end, it was the power of compassion and the willingness to forgive that triumphed. Emily, with the support of the unearthly visitor, managed to weaken the malevolent force's grip on the mansion. With a blinding burst of light, the entity was banished, its malevolence dissipating into the ether, with the malevolent force vanquished. RavensWood Manor was finally free from the curse that had plagued it for centuries. The mansion seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, its ancient walls no longer haunted by the echoes of the past. The unearthly visitor, released from its spectral existence, dissipated into the ether, its purpose fulfilled. Emily watched as it faded away, a sense of gratitude and closure filling her heart. As the days turned into weeks, RavensWood Manor underwent a transformation. Its once dark corridors were bathed in light, and its chilling whispers were replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves in the wind. Emily had not only saved her family from the curse, but had also given the mansion itself a new lease on life. In the aftermath of the ordeal, Emily looked upon RavensWood Manor with a sense of fulfillment. The mansion, once a place of darkness and despair, had been redeemed. It stood as a testament to the power of compassion and the indomitable human spirit. Emily's journey had been one of discovery, redemption, and the breaking of generational curses. She had uncovered the secrets of her family's past, confronted the darkest of malevolences, and ultimately brought light to the shadows. The story of RavensWood Manor and the unearthly visitor became a legend in its own right, a tale whispered by the townsfolk as a cautionary tale of the consequences of dabbling in the supernatural. But it was also a story of hope, resilience, and the capacity for change. As Emily looked out from the mansion's grand windows, she knew that her family's legacy was no longer one of darkness, but of redemption. The echoes of the cursed had been silenced, and RavensWood Manor had found peace at last. As this story ended, we find ourselves at the crossroads of darkness and mystery. Our journey has only just begun. If you dare to delve deeper into the realms of the unknown, if you thirst for more bone-chilling tales and heart-pounding thrills, then join our community of fearless explorers. Subscribe, like, and comment below, and together we shall uncover the secrets that lurk in the shadows. Are you ready to embrace the darkness?